I want to start off by saying congratulations to everyone who played the lineup that I gave them tonight. Um, unless it was a head to head where someone had more points than you, any tournament or 50-50 that you entered, you would have won money. Okay. My lineup won in every format. It was a bittersweet night for me, and I'm going to kind of explain. Although I won, um, so I made two lineups, right? And the first one is the one I put in all the single entries, the one I invested the most money, and that's the one that won. And the reason I won, if you remember, I said that this is a safe lineup. This is the lineup that goes by my system that I use when I pick players, and this is the lineup that I said will not win a tournament, but it will place you in a tournament. So any money you bet on this lineup, you would get that back plus more. This is the profitable lineup. Then I went to a second lineup, and I called it the upside tournament, whatever, where I put big names in and whatever, right? The chalk. So all the chalk and Zubac and Carl Anthony Towns. If you're a frequent listener to my show, you know that I discourage paying up on big slates for big name players, and you know that I preach consistency, capability, and upside. And if you follow my system, I'm going to get into it in more detail in a couple minutes, which is this lineup right here. You will be successful. Now let's go take a look, right? So the two lineups, the one that abides by my system and the rules, one in every format. The second one in no format. All right. Even in the 10 times, I came pretty close. And I'm always in the top 10 in that 10 times. Where is it? Oh, no. The 10 times, I was number 15, a little further out. But I'm always up there and I'm always competing for it. But um, this lineup cashed in all entries because it abides by my system. Now, Um, I'm happy that this happened tonight only because I can teach a lesson. I can kind of teach my system and the effectiveness of my system based on tonight's results. If you're trying to win a tournament and you're making these lineup that looks good to the naked eye, you can hit and you probably will once a season or once every three NBA seasons. It's like scratch off playing the lottery, right? But if you play within my system, more often than not, you're gonna place into your contest. You may or may not hit big, but you always win whatever you bet plus more. And um, also, I gave some advice in my live show. Most of the advice that I gave was accurate. People ask me about Dion Waiters. I tell them no, no Dion Waiters. Go around Dragic. I knew that Dragic was gonna ball out. I said it. I said it. I actually remember saying that I wanted to have Dragic in my lineup, but I like Ricky Rubio and Rondo so much that I didn't have any place to fit him in. All right. Now I could have had Dragic instead of Rubio. Rubio had 40. Dragic had 48. Whatever. But they both did well, and they are both players that I advise people taking. All right. I'm just gonna look at some other players. Kawhi Leonard did hit value. He was 10K. He did hit 6 times. But it was risky, and I still think it was risky. On 50-50, he'll hit it. 50-50, he won't. That's not a gamble that I like to take. I was big on Paul George today. People were like, oh, man, I never get Paul George right. He always let me down. I said, no, you got to pick Paul George. He's gonna he's gonna ball out. I went further to show that um, Charlotte's been giving up a lot of rebounds. Now he didn't double double today. He didn't have a lot of rebounds, but he went for about 8 times value. Paul George was a great play. He was someone that I was very big on today. I should have went Lou Will because he was going back to the Lakers, and I knew it was going to be a blowout, so they're just going to let him go wild and embarrass the Lakers. But it just doesn't fit within my system to pick a player like Lou Will tonight, so I'm not too upset about that. If I stick to a system that works and I win money, no matter how small it is, I'm okay with that. If I start going out of my system and I lose money, then I'm gonna feel like an idiot for knowing better. You know what I mean? Um, Damian Lillard did okay. I did consider him in last night's video, but on the back to back, the reason I stayed away from Lillard because he's very scoring dependent. For a point guard, he had to score 36 points to hit value today. He only got 4 assists. That's not real interesting to me. Um, Mark Gasol. I was big on Gasol and he hit value. I told you guys that. I said, Chicago, Rondo's a little pesky, so he's gonna give Conley a hard time. They're gonna go inside. Now Conley had more than Gasol, so I was kind of wrong there, but I knew that Gasol was safe, and that's why I put him in my lineup. And he did hit value. He did well. Um, People asked me about Darren Collison. I didn't know he was gonna be a late scratch, but I knew that Ty Lawson was a better pick. Collison didn't even play. So all the advice I gave out in the live show, Hayward, they were like, "Oh, he's so inconsistent." I said, "No, play Hayward." I actually put him in my upside video. I knew Hayward would do well tonight. I just knew that Paul George would do well too. So I went with Paul George. Marvin Williams disappointed me. I'm not really upset because of the recent success. He's a guy that fit the consistency upside. He fits into my system. So if he doesn't win me or do good for a night, I can't be too upset because I know that I'm consistent in the way and the method that I pick my players. So I'm not upset with that. I knew Kufos would meet value. They keep putting Kufos less than 4K, and I'm going to keep playing him. Kufos did not play at all in the fourth quarter. Imagine if he did. He would have double-double. He would have had like 35, 40 fantasy points for us. But that's fine. I knew that Kufos would do well. Rajon Rondo, I took the timeout, and I went to show recent opponents against Memphis. I showed every point guard that played Memphis recently and how they are at least a point per minute. And I made a case for Rondo. I said when Rondo come off the bench, he hits 30. Why would he not hit 30 when he's starting? Rondo came out and put up 42 points. So I'm not boasting, but I want to show you guys that if you think a certain way when you're picking these players, you're gonna be successful. And I'm gonna help you guys. I'm gonna coach you guys. I got an email today. A guy was like, "Man, I should not do this for free. I'm messing up the system. I'm messing with the competition." He said some weird stuff. I don't even remember. I kind of told him that I could do what I want, and I deleted the message. But people don't want me to give the information that I'm giving because they know that it's gonna be difficult for the Sharks and all that. Now the Sharks are always gonna win because they put in 150 lineups, but it's just not right that people like me have certain knowledge and time to invest. And then the average day Joe who just wants to see if he can win a couple dollars, he gets online and thinking, hey, I got a shot. I'm gonna pick good basketball players, but he really doesn't understand what he's doing. So then they're disadvantaged. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's right. And because of that, that's why I'm making these videos. I know that I'm gonna win regardless, and I'm gonna help other people win with me, and that's how I feel. All right. So that's why I make the videos. People who follow, you're gonna win money. This is the first of many good nights that we're gonna have. I'm done making these upside tournament videos. I guarantee you guys, I'm not. I pretty much broke even today because I bet money on a lineup that I knew wasn't going to be successful. But I'm not upset because I could use it as a teaching tool for people who need some coaching with DFS. These kind of lineups will not win you money. It'll win you money 1 out of every 4 days, to say the most. If you follow my system, you'll win 5 out of 7 days, guaranteed. There's going to be a couple days in a week where weird slates come around, injuries. Even tonight, we got hit with an injury in Bihalika, and we still won. So if we'd have got another 15 from him, we'd have been in the 80s, and we'd have been up. I know I would have been up way more. I'd have probably hit my 10 times booster, but that's all right. It comes with the game. I said most of the time when I don't do well, it's either injuries, a lineup lock error, or something out of my control. And someone getting injured is not something that you can predict or plan for. So with that said, I'm gonna get into tomorrow's slate. Um, For those who are new to my show, I want to tell you about my concept a little bit. I aim for 6 times value in all the players that I pick, okay? When it's a smaller slate, which is like 4 or less games, then you don't really rely on 6 times value because you don't have too many options. At that point, you want to pick the player that you think is going to score the highest point for the night, and you kind of make a balanced lineup around that, right? But on a night where there's 4 or more games, 5 or more games, you want to stay away from high price players because as much as they can carry you, like Kawhi would have carried you tonight, if they don't do well, they can sink you. Like Carl Anthony Towns sink me tonight. So that's just to give you an example. On these bigger slates, which is 5 or more games, in my opinion, you want to stay away from big names, okay? You want to pick players who can get you 6 times value, who's shown history of it and who shows consistency of it. All right. And then if you find say 10 players that all fit that system, you pick the 8 with the highest upside. So it's capability to make 6 times value, it's consistency making 6 times value, and high upside. That's my system. That's Daily Fantasy Sports Simplified. I just simplified DFS for you. It's that simple. Consistency, capability, and upside. If you shoot for that in every player that you pick, what's going to happen is some players are going to exceed 6 times value. Some people are going to barely make it. But the ones that's consistently making it, they're not going to fall too far off from it. So what's going to happen is if you're looking for 6 times value for $50,000, that's about 300 fantasy points. So at the end of the night, you're either going to be a little bit over or a little bit under 300, and that score will win you in most entries that you play for the night. Stay away from those big tournaments that people can enter 150 lineups in, because people will enter 150 and it puts you at a disadvantage. I play all single entry and 3 entry max lineups. With my system playing in those tournaments, or the 50-50s are good too. I would say 90% of the time I win a 50-50 lineup, and I say that honestly. All right, so 50-50s, but I don't like them because no matter how much you score, you're going to win the same amount of money. If you're in a tournament and you have a better night, you can win a little more than you would have. So that's why I stay away from the 50-50. My money double up on most nights. Tonight, I played that stupid other lineup. That's fine, but my main lineup importantly won people money, right? So looking into today's slate, I'm going to break it down. I already gave you my concept. If you like what I'm saying, it sounds interesting. If it sounds like I'm helping you, you think I'm a good guy, I want you to subscribe to the video. When you subscribe, hit the bell so you can get updates when I make new videos. I do live shows pre-lock about an hour before the games lock in. I do a live YouTube show and I try to give advice. People who followed my advice today were successful, and I congratulate you guys again. All right. Oklahoma versus Toronto. Damari Carroll seems to be the only injury, and I'm gonna start on the Oklahoma City on the ball. Russell Westbrook. Let's see if he fits the system. Right. He needs about 78 to make 6 times value for that price, and here we see that he does that consistently. All right. In one game, he played 38 minutes. He put up 58.8 fantasy points. So Russell Westbrook is a fantasy monster. Everyone wants Russell Westbrook. So I'm going to put him over for consideration. Now, to be honest, I don't think I'll be able to get to Westbrook. I don't think he'll lose me a lineup. Um, but he's down for consideration. Oladipo, we need about 40. He doesn't get to 40 consistently. He doesn't have upside. He does have 51-point upside, but he doesn't get to 40 consistently. So for his price, he's not someone that's worth playing tomorrow, okay? Now, when he played Brooklyn, I rostered him and I kind of regretted it. He didn't make the 6 times value. If he was 5,200, then I can say yes, he fits my criteria, because at that point 30 would be the point that we're looking for, and he makes 30 consistently. He just doesn't make 40 consistently, and that's what 6 time value is for tomorrow. In 36 minutes, he put up 37 points against them, but he's just not someone I think I can get to tomorrow. Doug McDermott, he's been putting up 6 fantasy points per game. I am not interested in that. Alex O'Brien's had a good game last time out. You want to be careful chasing players that have sporadic good games. A lot of people do that, hoping that they can do it again. A lot of times they don't. See, he had a good game here, and then he went back to his normal scrub. He had a good game here. He's going to go back to these normal numbers against Toronto, and he's not even guaranteed to get too many minutes. He's just not someone worth considering. Andre Roberson, we know he does good at home. If you look at his home road split, at home he scores more than on the road. For 4K, we need about 24, and he doesn't get to for 6K we need 24. He doesn't get to 24 consistently, so I'm gonna leave Andre Roberson out of it. Taj Gibson has just entered the starting lineup, and we need about 24 from him. In the 2 games in the starting lineup, he got 30 and 22. I guess you can call that some consistency being in the starting lineup. The only problem is if you're starting and you're only getting 24, 22 minutes, to me, you're splitting that role with someone else. You're not really starting, right? So I'm gonna leave him alone. The bigs against Toronto could be a little bit tricky. I think Steven Adams is too cheap for his price, but I went with him the last game and he kind of screwed me. We need about 28. He hasn't done that consistently. We know he has a little upside, but he hasn't done it lately. You don't want to keep chasing that and be disappointed. And it's Cantor on the other hand. We need about 30 to 32, and he hasn't really hit 30 in a couple games. And it's a tough matchup. Bigs against Toronto is going to be a tough matchup, so I wouldn't really consider Ennis Cantor. Russell Westbrook is the only Thunder tomorrow that I think is worth consideration. Looking at Toronto's side of the ball, I did find some interesting value, and I'm going to share it with you guys. Corey Joseph, he needs about 30. He doesn't do it consistently. I wouldn't pick him. Um, Fred Van Vliet has been working into the rotation because Corey Joseph has been struggling, but he as well has been struggling. Opening the door for this guy. I love this guy tomorrow. For the min price, I am definitely going to put him in my lineup. So apparently, when they were playing Miami, the team was down by like 18 at half, and then they gave this guy a shot. He came out and he went off for about 9 times value. Then the next game, they kept him in the rotation. They gave him 20 minutes in Dallas, a tough matchup, and he put out 8 times value. So I'm thinking, and I know the coach for Toronto. The similar thing happened earlier this year where Corey Joseph was inconsistent, and they took him out the rotation altogether and used Fred Van Vliet as Kyle Lowry's backup. And then Van Vliet had a couple good games. I think Delon Wright is up. I love him for tomorrow. He fits my system. He's consistently, since he's been getting the rotation, getting minutes in the 20s. He's making 7 to 8 to 9 times value. That's what you want, that big upside, especially if you're going to try to afford someone like Russell Westbrook. You're going to need a Delon Wright. Now, if this game turned into a blowout for whatever reason, he's still safe because he's a backup, and the backup are the ones that's gonna come out. So I think so. Let's see what he's doing, just to make sure there's no flukes. He's scoring some double-digit points, playing a little bit of defense. We know that people that play defense against Russell Westbrook will get 2 to 3 steals because Russell Westbrook is a turnover monster as well. He's due to turn over the ball a couple times, so he's gonna get some steals. He's gonna get some assists. I think he could pull some rebounds. I like his spot tomorrow. I think Delon Wright for the minimal should and deserve a roster spot. Shooting guard, DeMar DeRozan going up against Oladipo is just not. I'm not interested. Norman Powell has been getting more minutes with the absence of Damari Carroll. It's just that he'll see Andre Roberson. I'm not gonna risk that, and he hasn't consistent. He needs what 27 ish to get 6 times value. He's only done that once. For the most part, he's been in the teens, and that will cripple your lineup for tomorrow. So leave the Norman Powell alone. Um, PJ Tucker has been inconsistent, getting you 10, 3 fantasy points. You don't want to mess with that. Serge Ibaka, it's a revenge game. I guess the narrative could be there. He played Oklahoma once this year. He put up 50 on them, and he only played 36 minutes. I think, in these revenge narrative games, if you got the guts, you can go ahead and play the players similar to Lou Williams today who returned nice value. I'm not going to play Serge Ibaka because he doesn't fit my system. I like to stick to my system. He gave you 14 and 19 in the last 2 games, which shows that he's very inconsistent. I don't think he can consistently give me what I need. So I'm going to stay off of Ibaka. And Valanciunas needs about 30 in the last. He's been consistently around 30. In the last 4, he's put up 33 times. He has 45-point upside. And I'm going to put him over in the box for consideration based on those stats. All right. And that's it for that game. Moving on to Utah versus Cleveland. Kevin Love and Kyle Korver seems to remain out, and Derek Favors on the Utah side of the ball. Now, starting with Utah, George Hill has been hot as of late. I wonder what he did today. I'm gonna leave that up for you guys. I want to show you guys something with that later. George Hill on the Jazz in a matchup that we can say is a little tough, right? The Jazz play defense; they slow the game down. George Hill today, 17 of 22 and 3, 25, 24. So he put up 24 today, and that's fair enough to say that he's a little inconsistent. Looking at his game log, he put up 41, then he put up 15. So he's inconsistent. I won't consider George Hill tomorrow. Rodney Hood's still questionable. They've been giving the start to Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson with minutes consistently have been doing good, well. Um, it's just that he had 29, 21, then 9, 21, then 15. So that's inconsistent. I'm sorry. I'm not playing Joe Johnson tomorrow. Gordon Hayward can be a little bit inconsistent. I like him against the Cavs because the thing is, the Cavs are really like, I don't know. The Cavs are blowing guys out. I don't bank on blowouts, but I'm gonna consider Gordon Hayward, and let's look at why. 3 out of the last 4 games, and we know today as well. He's been in the upper 30s and 40s. He put up 47 against this team, so I think Gordon Hayward barely fits my system. He's not as consistent, but he has the upside. He has the capability, and he's consistent enough. I don't hate Gordon Hayward. I like playing him more times than not. And that's pretty much it. Rudy Gobert has been very inconsistent. He can give you 31, 41. For 7K, if I get 31 from Gobert, I'm not going to be happy. So I'm going to leave Gobert alone. On the other side of the ball, Cleveland, Kyrie Irving, also, he needs about 48 to hit value. And he's done that 1 out of the last 4 games. He also can be inconsistent. In games that's not a blowout, he does better. He does carry a lot of the load with Kevin Love out. But in 39 minutes against this team, he only put up 32.5. I don't really feel too safe for Kyrie Irving. There's a lot of point guards that I like tonight, but Kyrie Irving is not one of them. Um, Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith. J.R. Smith hit value the last time out. He played 22 minutes, but the game before that, he played 22 minutes and had 7.5. So he doesn't hit the consistency for me. Iman Shumpert has been playing very well as of late, and he's someone that I would also consider tomorrow. Um, in the last 3 games, he's put up 25, 20, and 24, and he's 3,500. So he's hit value 3 days in a row. I think that's pretty consistent enough. Um, Before that, he wasn't. He was in the teens every day. So he can be a risk, and I doubt that I'm going to get to him. But for right now, I'm going to pull him over because of the consistency that he's been showing. And this is what I do when I make my lineup. I pull guys over, and then as I get full on the right in this box, I start looking at other players that I want to put in that box, and I decide who's the better fit based on the upside and the consistency and all that stuff. And then I just go ahead and switch them out. So that's a good strategy when you're making your lineup. All right. And to be honest, just making these videos and talking out loud is kind of like thinking out loud, and it helps me a lot as well. So it's a win-win for you guys, and it's a win-win for me. Um, LeBron James, he has been. We need about 60 from him, and he's had that 2 out of the last 4 games. Even a 50 wouldn't hurt us. And then five, he had 5 games straight with 60 plus, and then 2 games without it. So I think he's due for another 60-point game. And this is the type of matchup where I see him coming out trying to take over because the rest of the team is going to struggle with the defense of the Jazz. And LeBron is matchup proof. The guy's a freak. He could go out there and just knock people down, run them over. So I love LeBron James for tomorrow. In the 1 game against Utah, he already put up 51. If I get 51 from him, I'm not happy, but I'm not upset. 50 from any player besides a 13K Westbrook. If I get 50 from Westbrook for 13K, that's like 4 times value, literally, and that's why you got to stay away from Russell Westbrook tonight. Um, Shining Fry is always worth consideration, but he's up and down. The last 2 games, he gave me 14 and 15, and Against Detroit last week, he gave us 30. So it's like flipping a coin, and I don't feel like getting lucky tomorrow. I'd rather use the skill than the luck. All right. Tristan Thompson shows flashes as well. He needs about 27 to hit the 6 times, and he doesn't do that consistently. We see low 20s and some 17, mid teens. So stay away from Tristan Thompson. I don't think he fits the bill for tomorrow. And that's that game. Brooklyn versus New York is a game where you can find a lot of value, but I think I'm going to stay away from too many uncertainties. When you have two teams, another piece of advice, two teams going up against each other that's out the playoffs already, cautious, all right? Play very cautious because the coaches are trying things out and all this foolishness that you don't want to get caught up in. But I'll break it down nonetheless. On the New York side of the ball, Derrick Rose needs about 40. He hasn't hit 40. I don't know why his price went up because it's Brooklyn, but they just played Brooklyn and he had 30. 30 is about 4 times value for his price, 4 to 5. I'm not interested in Derrick Rose. All his backups, Courtney Lee needs 30. He's had 19 and 22 in his last 2 games, so I'm going to X off of Courtney Lee. Carmelo Anthony needs 48. He hasn't hit 48. He gives you 43, 41, 20, 27. Too much inconsistencies. Um, Now Porzingis, let's see what's going on with Porzingis. He did not practice and he's doubtful. So Porzingis is going to be out. We can just say that, right? When Porzingis is out, I like Lance Thomas in a good matchup. He played the Nets for 32 minutes and he put up 28 points. If he's going to get minutes in the 30s, Indiana, he didn't do too well. And the Knicks did win that game, but that game was very low scoring and weird. I think Lance Thomas gets minutes tomorrow, and he seems to be a point per minute against the Nets. In 2 games, he played them 21 minutes, and he's put up 19 points. So with Porzingis out, I think Lance Thomas. I th- I, from what I believe, they're gonna go Hernan Gomez, Carmelo at the 4, Lance Thomas, Courtney Lee, and then the power Derrick Rose. They're not gonna start like a O'Quinn. They're not gonna do that. They're gonna bring him off the bench. So I like Lance Thomas. I think he's a good value for tomorrow. I think he's a point per minute and filling in for Porzingis. I think he get 30 minutes and he'll get just about 30, which is 7 to even 8 times value for your price tomorrow. Play Lance Thomas with confidence. All right. Whenever I say that, it bears fruit. So there's no reason not to trust me at this point, right? Um, Hernan Gomez is actually a good play tomorrow. We need about 36 from him. He just played Brooklyn. In the game against Brooklyn, for some reason, they didn't bring him back in the second half. But tomorrow, they're going to have no choice because Porzingis is going to be out. So there's no way that they don't bring him back. In 3 games against the Nets, he's averaging 18 points and 31 fantasy points. I think Porzingis hits the 40s. Hernan Gomez hit the 40s tomorrow. I'm going to pull him over into the box. I like him tomorrow. Only if Porzingis is out. If Porzingis plays, I don't love Hernan Gomez, but if Porzingis is out, I do like Hernan Gomez. I think he'll do very well. I think he'll have another 16 rebound game. I think he'll have a line similar to this one. The steals may not be there, so we could take off 6 from this. I like Hernan Gomez, and I'm gonna consider him until I find someone to replace him. Kylo Quinn has been out the rotation. With the injury, he may play. We know that he's good for a point per minute, really. 6 minutes, 7 points. 19 minutes, 18 points. So he's good for a point per minute. Just don't know how they're going to use him, but he's worth consideration as well. And I think it's fair to say he's off the bench. Another thing is be very careful picking bench players, okay? Um, on the Brooklyn side of the ball, the price on Jeremy Lin has increased. He is now 6K. He needs about 36 to hit value. Against New York, point guard seems to struggle. I don't know why, but they do. Um, he played them. He only had 27 points, and he doesn't really hit the upper 30s that consistently. He did against Oklahoma, but other than that, he's like low 30s, 20s, and the upside isn't there. I don't see him getting into the 40s, so I'll leave Jeremy Lin alone. Whitehead was everyone's favorite. He was the chalk of the night, and he put up 14 fantasy points. So we know that he can put up 21, 24, but he just put up 14. And they still raised his price from 3,300 to 3,900. I am not interested in Whitehead for tomorrow, okay? Archie Goodwin just signed a contract with them, and we know that he's okay. I just don't see why they would do that. They're very crowded in the backcourt, but whatever. It's the Nets. That's another thing. I'm telling you, these teams that have nothing to play for, unless it's an obvious play, I would really stay away from them. Karis LeVert had a good game against Oklahoma. He's had two straight good games, but then the game before that, he had 8 points. I don't trust it. I'm not going to pick him. Trevor Booker will get you around 30 any given night, but he has not been doing it consistently. And he had 11 the last game out, 25 the one before that. Richard Hollis Jefferson, another one. He can get you 18, then 30, then 12. Two up and down for my liking. I'm going to stay away from him. Brook Lopez, I do have some interest in. In 3 games against the Knicks, he's put up 32.3. He needs about low 40s, 40 to 41 to hit value for me. He's done that 2 out of the last 3 games. I'm going to stay away from Lopez because I don't think the upside is really there. He had a 63-point game, but that's fake. What did he do? He had 8 blocks that game. I don't think Lopez is going to have 8 blocks tomorrow. I'll stay away from Lopez as well. He's a good play though, and I think he will approach value. I don't know if he'll hit 6 times, but he will approach it. He just doesn't have that extensive upside, and he's kind of expensive. His price been creeping back up, so I'm gonna leave him alone. Um, Memphis versus Atlanta. Now, the last time that these two teams played, um, I advise everyone to stay away from Mike Conley. People looked at me like I'm crazy. Hey, you like to attack Schroeder. You love to attack Schroeder. Why would you stay away from Conley? He's in the perfect spot. I just had a feeling in my gut that it wasn't Conley's night. In that game, he only put up 33 fantasy points. All right. Tomorrow, I think you want to play Conley. You want to attack Conley. It's weird because they were at home. Now they're on the road, but I think Conley has a very good game tomorrow. I'm gonna actually take out um Hernan Gomez really doesn't have anything to play for. The Knicks are tanking, so I'm gonna put Conley for Hernan Gomez for now. Okay. Shooting guard. Tony Allen's been streaking again, but he's not consistent. He'll get you 21, then 13. He will crash your lineup on a bad night. Vince Carter has been also streaking. We know that he put up 41 the other day, and I think he did well today too. But if you know me, and you know basketball, you know that Vince Carter is 40 years old, and I'm not talking figuratively. He's really 40 years old. On a back to back, he might get a DNP. All right. And today he didn't have a great game. 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 4. So he had about mid teens today. Um, that's not consistent enough for us to say yes, I love Vince Carter. So I'm gonna stay away from Vince Carter as well. And it's been getting minutes, but he does nothing with it. He's been in the single digits. We don't want to mess with it. Zach Randolph is too up and down. We need about mid 30s from him. And he can get you 24, 11, 36. Just he's all over the place. He's not consistent enough for my system that I like to use. And Jermichael Green gets the start. In one game against Atlanta, he played 25 minutes. He put up 37 fantasy points. Um, but he has been inconsistent. We need about 24 from him. I like his upside. He does have 30-point upside, but he gave us 15 and 8 fantasy points in 2 out of the last 4 games. Today against the Bulls, he did what? Let's see. So about 14 and 4. About 18, about 20, roughly 20 today against the Bulls. So he's not consistent. Leave him alone. Um, Mark Gasol had a great game. He actually was probably one of the key reasons why I won money tonight. But tomorrow against Atlanta, you just don't want to mess with him on a back to back. He's also up there in age. And Atlanta is pretty tough on the inside. So stay away from Mark Gasol. On the other side of the ball, Dennis Schroeder I like for the same reason that I like Rondo today. He needs mid 30s to 40. He's been doing that consistently, very consistently. He has some upside for 45. He just played Memphis 2 games ago. and he put up 40, but that was with 3 steals. I'm not sure he'll get you 3 steals. He does have multiple games with multiple steals, so um, I wouldn't take out Conley for Schroeder tomorrow. He just there's nowhere for him to fit. I guess we can try to take out Russell. Yeah, let's do that to make it balanced. Cause I find it very hard to get to Westbrook tomorrow unless it fits picture perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna put Schroeder over and see what happens. See what happens. Tim Hardaway Jr. He needs about 30. He's averaging 30 in the last 10 games. They just played the other day. He played 21 minutes and gave us 16.25. In the last 10, he gave us 32, 16, 35, 27. Not too excited about Tim Hardaway Jr. against Memphis. I'm gonna pass on him. The matchup's not there, and the upside is not really there. When Cephalosha was out, yes, but not right now. Bazemore sharing minutes with Cephalosha. He hasn't been consistent. We need about 24 from him tomorrow, and he's only done that once in the last 4 games. So stay away from Kent Bazemore tomorrow. Paul Millsap just disappointed me, so it's a personal bias. I'm gonna stay away from him. But I guess you can call him consistent. He needs about 42 to hit 6 times value. He's been doing that consistently, as we see upper 30s, lower 40s. Last time he played Memphis, he put up 44. So he's a good pick, but I have a personal bias against him because of the other day. So I'm gonna leave him alone for right now. I never feel too confident in Paul Millsap. I watch a lot of basketball, and when I roster players, even though I look at the numbers and the analytics, I still consider how they play. And when I watch Millsap play, it's just something about his game doesn't guarantee me that points that he put up every night. On paper, it looks good, but in my gut and in my feelings, my vibe, I'm not a big Paul Millsap fan. Ilyasova, we need about 24, and he hasn't really hit 24. He had a 16-point game followed by a 22-point game, so I'm going to stay away from Ilyasova as well. Dwight Howard, 6K. I can be interested in that. I think that's way too cheap. I said that the other day, and he didn't hit value in San Antonio. Let's see how Lopez did against them tonight. Lopez really struggled. Who's his backup that he like to play? Feliciano. So yeah, I think Memphis is gonna start clamping down and getting back to their old ways. That's why I like Conley tomorrow. I feel like Memphis went through something, but they're out of it, and I feel like they do well moving forward. Um, Dwight Howard doesn't have a good matchup. I'll stay away from him. Denver versus Clippers. Now this game has a lot of value. Love this game. On the LA Clippers side of the ball, I'll be careful. They just had a game today. They did lose, but I'll just be careful rostering LA game Clipper players. Denver has a bunch of people out, which have me very interested in this one person, right? So they're missing tomorrow for sure. Already confirmed. Wilson Chandler, Darrell Arthur, and Gallinari. A lot of scoring for them is gone tomorrow. Okay. Jokic for 10.6. I'm not interested in that. Um, just too much for Jokic playing. Jokic been really getting like the last game he had 36, 45. So he hasn't really been hitting 6 times value for that price. So I would stay away from Jokic in a matchup that doesn't seem to be ideal. I do like Mason Plumlee, and I think Fareed plays tomorrow because of all the injuries, and Fareed has pretty much been he practiced today, so he should play tomorrow if he got to practice. And I do like Fareed. I think Fareed is way too cheap for that price. Um, and with no starting power forward eligible, he played them 3 games this season. He's only put up 23 points, and he's averaging 28 points against the Clippers. I want to say that Blake Griffin was out a good amount of those games, but the way that Fareed plays, if he gets minutes, he's good for a point per minute. You know what I mean? So if he gets 24 minutes, which I think would be easy for him tomorrow, I think he hits value. I have a lot of interest in Fareed tomorrow against a team that just played. Even though it's Blake Griffin and that's a matchup that people are afraid of, I think you can play Fareed with confidence. I just got to find a way to fit him in. Um, I'm gonna take out LeBron for now. LeBron and Westbrook, I'm gonna revisit. I'm just trying to get a core of players that I'm comfortable with, and then at the end, I'll start replacing based on my likings, right? Plumlee, I started speaking about a very good option. He's about 30 to 35, and he's done that 3 out of the last 4 games. He does come off the bench. He doesn't need a lot of minutes to hit value. For example, against the Kings, he played 21 minutes, scored 35 points. Um, because he comes off the bench, I'm gonna kind of be a little afraid. It just depends on how the lineup is, and it's a later game, so we're not gonna get word until after lock. I think Plumlee is safe. To be honest, I like Plumlee. Who's my center? For the similar price, I will go Plumlee before I go Valanciunas. I know that Valanciunas starts, but it's a tough matchup, and Valanciunas is very inconsistent. He's been showing some consistency, but he can still land you into six or low 20s. I don't see Plumlee getting low 20s tomorrow. He hasn't. His lowest scoring game was 21 against Boston, and that was a 20-point blowout game. He only played 20 minutes. It was a blowout. Denver's not getting blown out tomorrow. If anything, they do the blowing out, and then Plumlee will get more minutes because they're gonna want to rest Jokic. They'll give Plumlee and Juancho Hernan Gomez all the minutes. So I like Plumlee. I'm gonna take out Valanciunas and I'm gonna put Plumlee in. Like Plumlee tomorrow. Um, Jamal Murray needs 30. He just did that, but the games before that he got 22 and 16, so he's risky. Jameer Nelson, for 4K against the Clippers, though, I'll be careful. 23 and 18 is just not consistent enough for me. Shooting guard, I like Will Barton a lot tomorrow. With no Gallinari and Chandler, I think he's the only one in the small forward spot. There's no backup for him at small forward. He's gonna get the start, and he's gonna go off in one game. He played 3 games. He needs about 30 to hit value. He played 3 games against this team. He's averaging 31 minutes per game. I think he gets that many tomorrow. And he's putting up 36 fantasy points, which is about 7 times value for his price, okay? And we know that this guy has upside. He can get hot and go off, all right? I like how he plays when he starts, and I am almost definitely going to have him in my lineup. So I'm going to get rid of Shumpert, and I'm going to put Will Barton in. Let's see if he has consistency. He doesn't, but he's been coming off the bench. And if he starts, which I know that he will tomorrow, so let's look at when he gets minutes, right? When he gets 30 minutes, we get 30 points. When he gets 26, we get 20. When he gets 31, we get 22. When he gets 29, we get 33. But he has a good history against this team. And yeah, he may not make my final cut, but I'm strongly considering Will Barton for tomorrow, okay? Power forward. So that's pretty much done. I went over their bigs already. Love Kenneth Fareed if he gets to start tomorrow. If he's practicing, let me see. It was his first practice since his lower back pain, sidelining for 9 games. So he might be a little bit out of shape, needing some conditioning, right? So Coach Malone said that the Nuggets will reassess his status after morning shoot around before deciding if he would play. But if he is deemed good to go, he could be in store for a sizable workload right away. The Nuggets have already ruled out Gallinari, Wilson Chandler, and Darrell Arthur, leaving the team with limited options in the front court beyond Fareed, Juancho, Nicole. Perfect. So I love Fareed for 4K. That's almost minimal. And I think with minimum amount of minutes, he'll jump over the back of Blake Griffin and get some value for us tomorrow. So love Fareed. On the Clippers side of the ball, Chris Paul becomes interesting. He needs about 50 fantasy points to hit value. Um, this always does this in the middle of my video. So the computer is giving us a commercial break. If you like what I'm saying and you agree with my advice, hit the subscribe button. After you hit the subscribe button, you're gonna see a little bell. That bell, if you click it, will get you alerts for when I do videos or if I go live. It's gonna give you live updates and help just to let you know when I have some content that's worth viewing. So if you like what I'm saying, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's do it. So Chris Paul, What the heck is this? Oh, this thing is bugging out. Had one game against them. He put up 50 points. 50 points would be great tomorrow. It's a good matchup. They just beat them. The price doesn't scare me in a matchup like this, even if it's on the road and it's a back to back. Would they rest Chris Paul tomorrow? It's a good question. They're not in threat of falling out the playoffs. He is a veteran and they'll need him. Um, uh, Trying to see if I can fit Chris Paul in. I like Delon Wright. I think he's gonna make the cut because of his cheapness and his upside. I think he can get us into the 20s tomorrow. Mike Conley, I feel I wouldn't take out Conley and put Chris Paul in because they can give me similar amount of points, and Conley is much cheaper. Same could be said for Schroeder. So Chris Paul is eliminated by default, similar to why Dragic was eliminated today. He was just the most expensive person out of all the other people that I like. So I'm gonna leave Chris Paul out of it for tomorrow. Okay, Schroeder, we know that Memphis gives up a lot of points to point guards right now. And Conley is going to tear Schroeder apart tomorrow. I'm telling you, Conley's going to have a monster game tomorrow. Um, Continuing with the Clippers, Jamal Crawford off the bench, two up and down for me. Raymond Felton bench. Blake Griffin is always worth consideration. We need about 48 from him. Let's see how much he gave us tonight. Blake Griffin tonight had like 30 something points, I think. I'm not messing with Blake Griffin. 32 points with a big snowflake next to it. So not consistent enough for me. DeAndre Jordan is always worth consideration. He needs about 40 in 3 games this year. He's put up 36 points. Okay. The reason I like DeAndre Jordan tomorrow, and I probably roster him, is because he's been consistent lately, and I think he'll grab a ton of rebounds. Today he had 17 rebounds. He put up 50 fantasy points. And let's see what he's been doing. So 24 and then 60. 22 and then 41. That's a lot of inconsistencies. But let's look at the matchups, right? Utah is a difficult matchup. He didn't do well. Philly, a good matchup. He did well. Memphis, tough. He didn't do well. Minnesota, good one. He did well. Boston, he hit about value for his price. In 3 games, 30 minutes, 35 points, averaging 12 rebounds and 13 points. How much real points did he score today? I mean, he's worth consideration. He scored 22 real points today. He's hitting his free throws. All right. When do we ever see him 2 for 2, 7 for 10, 3 for 5, 2 for 5? So he's hitting free throws. Although Jokic can be a force, Jokic is not that athletic and quick. Jordan is. So I think Jordan runs circles around Jokic tomorrow. I like Jordan. Um, and I like to play two bigs. I'm gonna come off Plumlee because he's not a starter, and Jordan is in a good matchup. I'm gonna put DeAndre Jordan and come down on Plumlee. Love Jordan tomorrow for some reason. Something stands out about DeAndre Jordan tomorrow. I think he's a good play, and that's it for this game. Golden State versus Orlando. I hate these kind of games, man. Anyone can go off on Golden State. Let's start with them. Kevin Durant's out. Steph Curry's inconsistent. He needs about 60, and he hasn't done that at all. So stay away from Steph. He's going through something right now, so I'll be careful. Eaton Clark just put up 6 fantasy points against Philly, so there's no consistency there. Klay Thompson will probably be the person I look to, but he needs about 42. In the last game, he put up 34. And there's not really much upside from 42 for Klay Thompson. I don't see Klay Thompson in the 50s, so I'll stay away from him. Iguodala comes off the bench, but he's going to give them a lot of minutes because Kevin Durant's out. In 28 minutes against this team, he only put up 21 points. In the last 2 games, he put up 13 and 14 fantasy points. He does have some upside. He put up 46 against Atlanta, but 13 and 14 in the last 2 is enough for me to say, whoa, right? Matt Barnes, I think I might get to tomorrow as well. Reason being, in the last two, he put up 28 and 33. And I think the team is finally realizing that if they want to win games, they got to play Matt Barnes and not that skinny Patrick McCaw guy. So it's a good matchup for Matt Barnes. I think the minutes is gonna be there for him. I'm not gonna take out Fareed, and because of how up and down Haywood has been, I think it's a good idea to kind of come out of Haywood and get Matt Barnes in there. So I think Matt Barnes and Delon Wright are safe low price plays for tomorrow, and I wouldn't go low price on any other players besides those two. With those two, it's going to open us up to probably be able to get Westbrook and LeBron in our lineup. Two players that can hit six times value, who plays well consistently in matchups that I don't think are going to be blowouts tomorrow. I don't think Utah gets blown out. Um, although LeBron can go off, it's just that Utah plays defense, so it's not going to be a lot of those threes. And Cleveland needs their shots to fall. When they fall, they blow teams out. When they don't, like in Houston, they get caught up. But hold on, I want to see because I think Cleveland thrives more against slow teams because they push the pace and run them off the floor like they did in Detroit. Detroit tried to come out with this old slow pace, half court stuff, and they just pushed the gas down on those guys, right? Houston now is able to run up and down with them, and they had a hard time with them. Orlando can run. Detroit beat them, so Miami beat them. Miami likes to slow it down a little bit. Milwaukee slows it down, and they didn't blow them out. New York is always going to be. I don't like to bet on blowouts, right? So I think LeBron's safe, and I think Westbrook is safe. And based on what we have here so far, we might be able to get both in. Let's see how it goes. Um, I doubt it, but let's see. So on the Golden State side, we're continuing to. Draymond Green had a great game last time out, but he's inconsistent. He had 62 the game before that. He had 29. The game before that, he had 37. We need 48 from him, so he doesn't show me enough consistency. David West is old and inconsistent. Leave him alone. Zaza Peculiar, kind of like for that low price tomorrow. I'm gonna put Zaza in as my because Zaza's been steady. Let's look at his game log. So 14, 33, 27, 15. 14 against Philly. Nah, there's no consistency there. I'm not gonna mess with Zaza tomorrow. That's gonna have me with three low price players, and I'm not gonna be comfortable with that anyway. So I'm gonna stay away from Zaza. And that's it for that. Going to Orlando. This point guard's been playing very well. Alfred Payton. In 39 minutes against this team, he put up 46 points. The only thing is that I'm going to stay away from is the 7.4K tag. All right, that means he needs about upper 40s, mid to upper 40s to make me satisfied. And to expect that from this guy, it's just, I mean, he consistently been in the 30s and he has some 72-point upside. Why I think his price is the way it is. He's getting tons of assists, tons of rebounds. He's liable for a triple double. He had three triple doubles in the last one, two, three, four games. He had three triple doubles in the last 5 games, right? He is no Russell Westbrook. All right, he's no LeBron James. I don't think it's real, and I don't think Golden State is gonna allow him to come in and do that against them. It's hard to ignore him because this is the pace that he likes. And he's been triple doubling. Would he get 10 rebounds in Golden State? Though I don't think he's going to pull down 10 rebounds against Golden State. Golden State take pride in crashing the boards. McGee and um, I'm going to stay away from Alfred for that price tomorrow. Just don't feel too safe playing him for that. Fournier has been inconsistent. We need mid 30s from him, and he's been in the 20s, low 20s consistently. Terrence Ross is a person that can thrive against Golden State. In 2 games, he played them 27 minutes, and he's averaging 30 points per game. He's the type of player that can hit down the three ball, um, like Terrence Ross for tomorrow. It's just risky. He doesn't show consistency, and I'm not going to put him. He doesn't fit my system, But if I made three lineups, I'll put Terrence Ross in one of three lineups. All right. Aaron Gordon, same thing. He needs mid 30s, and he's been in the 20s all week. Don't. It's not worth it. Vucevic, on the other hand, I do like. I just don't like Vucevic against Golden State. I'm not gonna play him. Vucevic has been in the 40s 5 out of the last. Wait, a lot. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of the last 10 games. So he's consistent. He has high 40 upside. Against Golden State, he played 23 minutes, put up 24 fantasy points. So it's fair to say that he's good for a point per minute. If he gets 30 something, I'm not. I just don't feel it. I don't feel like Vucevic is what I want for tomorrow. I feel like he's had 3 games in the 40s, and he's due for one of these 20-point games. And Golden State is the type of team that can stick it to him. So I like the guards like Terrence Ross and Peyton on Orlando for tomorrow. I even like Aaron Gordon. I think those athletic guys that can run up and down will do it. I just don't like Vucevic. I'm not gonna put him in my roster. So that's a slate breakdown. We got 9 grand to spend. We got to see who we're gonna keep and who we're not, right? And so far, my locks are Delon Wright because I can get up to 8 times value from him consistently. And although people might think I'm crazy, if I get 12 from a minimal price player and I put my money into good players, I won't lose. But I can get 8 times upside for him. So, and he's been doing it consistently. 2 out of the last 2 games, he's working himself into a bigger role on the team. I think Delon Wright deserves some mention, and I'm gonna roster him tomorrow. So he's locked in. Will Barton, nah. I want to say DeAndre Jordan is locked in as well. I think DeAndre Jordan's a nice smooth sale. Mike Conley is a little expensive. Um, I could take out Mike Conley and afford Russell Westbrook. I don't feel right not picking Russell Westbrook. The guy is a fantasy dream come true. Okay. The next person here that looks iffy would definitely be Lance Thomas, only because they don't have anything to play for. I want to stay away from that New York game, so I'm gonna get rid of Lance. I love Fareed, love him, love DeAndre Jordan at the center tomorrow. As many options as I have Griffin, Jokic, Draymond. I don't love none of these guys. I don't love Gasol tomorrow. I like Vucevic a little bit, just a little bit. I don't love Gobert. I'm not messing with this New York game. Dwight Howard is cheap, but so is DeAndre Jordan. For the similar price, I'm gonna go Jordan. Plumlee is probably someone that I can consider over Jordan. So if push comes to shove, Plumlee is the only person. DeAndre Jordan starts, and in the last 10, he's averaging about 6 times value for his price anyway. And he's capable of getting you 50. He put up 50 tonight. He put up 50 the night before. I don't think the back to back affects him. On the 8th, he put up 41. All right, so the back to back affected him. But that's Memphis, right? Milwaukee and Chicago. He's definitely up and down, but when my gut tell me he's a good play, he's a good play, and that's it. Love DeAndre Jordan for tomorrow, especially when they just lost. Love DeAndre Jordan for tomorrow. Love Westbrook. Love Fareed. Love this guy. Um, so what's our options for power forward here now? This is gonna be hard because I don't really love any power forwards on this slate. I was looking earlier. I couldn't find any power forwards that I really like that I could say is good to go. So I might just pay down. Oh, Kenneth Fareed. There we go. We could save that headache. Fareed, power forward, and then forward. Man, I wish I could pay up for LeBron James and put. I would have to come down on Schroeder. $4,000 center is not happening. I would have to go Zaza, and that would make me. That's not bad, right? DeAndre Jordan for Zaza, they're both like similar when it comes to like consistency. But is Zaza the kind of? I feel like Orlando's a team you go small ball lineup against, right? I don't think they're gonna give Zaza. They haven't been giving Zaza minutes, man. How much is Zaza cost, by the way? Let's see. If I can do it, I'll probably do that. It fits just right. Get rid of Jordan, even though I feel great about him. But he's been up and down. He can get you 60 or 24, 22 against Denver. I know he's going to get me mid 30s to 40s. But to have LeBron and Shooter, I love. Barton, I love tomorrow, man. Something's telling me Barton is going to really show out. And shooting guards, there's no other shooting guards that I could say I love. Oladipo is too expensive. Tim Hardaway Jr. It can be a little. I don't love him more than Barton. They're like similar places. They both can go. They're both volatile. They can both go off. So there's no other shooting guard that I really love. So Barton is in a good spot, and I like him a lot. He's gonna stay. Shooter's gonna stay. Matt Barnes, I think is okay. Fareed is gonna stay. I think I'm forced to go Zaza right here, man. I think that's the best thing. So I got the big name players, but I don't sacrifice my lineup. A slate like this, it's kind of like contradicting myself because I'm like, stay away from those big name players, but they're gonna need a lot of LeBron tomorrow. What if I don't pick LeBron, right? What if I stick to my gut and go DeAndre Jordan? Because I think Russell Westbrook can hit 6 times value. All the thing with these guys, like, all right, let's go back to Carl Anthony Towns, right? 6 times value at 11, that's 66. He hasn't hit 66 consistently. He has a lot of 40s games, 50s games. So I think picking Carl Anthony Towns today was a bad choice. But Westbrook has hit 70s consistently. He's almost 70 here, 70, 70, 80, 80, 70. So that's nothing 70, 70, 70. So that's consistent for him. So it's not like I'm just paying for a high price player. I'm playing for a high price player who gives me 6 times value consistently. Now he doesn't have too much upside with that. He does. He can get you into the 80s, which is upside. So love Westbrook. I'm not sacrificing Westbrook. LeBron, he's also like Westbrook, right? If you're looking for 6 times value and I need 60, he's been doing that consistently. 60, 60, 60, 60, 60, 60. So one, two, three. So more than half of the times he's in the 60s. And he hasn't done it in 2 games. He's gonna be at home, which he has a better time at. And he's in a matchup where he's gonna have to do a lot for his team. His team is shorthanded. There's no reason not to trust LeBron tomorrow. This guy, Delon Wright, is good for 6 times value. Fareed is good for like 8 times. I think Fareed is in the 30s tomorrow, if not just about 30. So I think I get 7 times value out of Fareed tomorrow if they play him. If not, then I might have to get rid of LeBron because I'm not gonna compromise value just to get LeBron. And Matt Barnes is gonna get 24 and up. He's been doing it consistently. 2 out of the last 2 games, and I think the team is really starting to realize that they need him, and that Orlando is a favorable matchup for him. Will Barton, we kind of spoke about. Schroeder against Memphis is in a good spot. We just need mid 30s from him. He's been in the 40s consistently, 40 all 4 of the last 4 games. So Schroeder's going to chuck up a lot of shots, 20 shots. He'll get to the line if his shots are not falling. He can lead to his team in assists. He can. I think he'll have a lot of rebounds tomorrow. I think tomorrow's the day. Even though it's Memphis, he'll pull down some rebounds. I think he's gonna have a similar game like Rondo had today, Schroeder. So Zaza wraps it out, and this is a good lineup tomorrow. Let's see how it works. I'm gonna submit this. I'm gonna sleep on it. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow. I'm gonna look at some injury news. I'm gonna go to the casino, make even more money. Then I'm gonna come home, make a final lineup. Then I'm gonna go live with you guys, and we're gonna have a good time. All right. Hit the like button, subscribe to the video, hit the bell so you get updates, and then good luck, man. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.